What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Real Talk Recovery, where we talk about recovery from addiction and I share my life with you. My name's Nicole and I am a recovering addict. My sobriety date is July 13th of 2015. Before we get into this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell. That way you will be made aware of every time I upload a video. And if you have any questions or you want me to talk about another topic or another substance, leave it down in the comment section. I will get right to it because I got a lot of free time in my hands right now. So today we're going to talk about what it's like to be addicted to crystal meth, methamphetamine, glass, ice, tweak, crank. Yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. For those of you guys that did not know, I have almost 5 years sober. In July, I'll have 5, so it's about 4.5 right now. Maybe a little bit more than that. And I was addicted to methamphetamine from the time I was about 18 till I got sober when I was 32. I started out smoking it, snorting it, and doing hot rails, and graduated up to injecting it. A lot of people ask me what the hardest drug was to get sober from, or how did methamphetamine affect me, or can I remember if it was hard to get off of it. And I'm going to share with you guys exactly today what it was like and what it was like for me to get sober from meth. So let's get right into it. Methamphetamine was probably one of the hardest drugs for me to walk away from, because of the energy it gave me, because of the way it kept my appetite down, because of the superhuman powers it made me feel. Like, I never felt like I was running out of energy. I always wanted to do something, and I enjoyed that. Like, that's what I was looking for when I was using, you know? But prolonged use over a long period of time, for me, it turned all bad. What ended up happening is the longer I stayed using meth, you guys, the crazier it became. The more I had hallucinations, the more I would not sleep. And that lack of sleep is what really caused me so many problems. I would get myself into so much trouble because I would call the police on myself. I would be walking down the road, hallucinating that I was places that I wasn't. And it was just really, really dangerous. So the first time I ever used meth was, I think I was like 18 years old, and I was hanging out with one of my best friends, and she had been using it for a while. And you know how it is when you're hanging out with your friends and you're younger, they're doing something, so you're like, let me try that. And that's exactly how it started. I tried a line, and it was like all my little synapses and dopamine hits and pew, pew, pew in my brain. It was like I was wired for sound, literally. And I loved that feeling. And so I chased that feeling for a long time, in my addiction to meth. And as I stayed using it, it just got to a point where I wasn't getting the same results and the same great feelings that I was first getting from snorting it, smoking it. And so what I started to do was I started to do hot rails. And if any of you guys are not familiar with hot rails, it's just basically where you light the end of a pipe up, stick the cold end to your nose, snort the substance through the pipe, and blow out smoke. And so that kind of like appeased that obsession for more for a little bit, until it stopped, until I started getting intrigued and watching people that were shooting up, and they were like seeming like they were so much higher than I was. And so that's what really pushed me over the edge to try it intravenously. And when I tried it, injecting it, you guys, it was the most powerful, euphoric feeling I've ever felt in my whole entire life. The strength of that drug, it's that and heroin are just like, the way it made me feel was I injected that, and it was like the best sex that you've ever had times 1,000. The biggest orgasm you've ever had with times 60,000. Okay, it was like so intense. And I'm already such an intense person, so just imagine that, adding that much more intensity to me already. So I was wilding out, you guys. And so once I started injecting meth, my addiction just kept climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing. And I needed more and more to get that good feeling that I was chasing. And with prolonged meth use, like I was saying before, you start not sleeping, okay? I wasn't somebody that could do a bump and then fall asleep the next day. I would stay up for 3 days, 6 days, 9 days on end. And without that sleep, my mind would start going insane. Lack of sleep, whew, let me tell y'all something. It is crazy what your mind will play on you when you haven't had any sleep. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about? When you haven't slept and you're seeing shit that you swear it's there, but then you know it's not, but you swear it is. That's what it was like for me. Another thing that really pulled me into the drug was the social use of it and hanging out with a bunch of people and being in one place. Like we would all hang out at like a house or a trailer, and we would all be high together and drawing and staying up all night and watching. We would have these monitors set outside our trailers to watch and see who was pulling up. So it was like we were almost like 007s and shit, you know. It was so crazy, but I loved it at that time. Now, meth ended up turning on me, you know, pretty quickly, to the point where I was going so long without sleep that I would call the police on myself, and they would find me like walking down the road. And it was so sad, you guys. But it was like I kept doing it. That obsession to use was so strong with me. Now, the reason why I think it was so hard for me to get off methamphetamine was not because of the withdrawal, because honestly, you guys, you can just go to sleep. Go to sleep for a couple days and wake up and you're not having physical sickness from meth. But it's more of a psychological sickness. It's like, I need this energy. I don't feel like I can do anything. And that's what made it so difficult for me to walk away and stay away from methamphetamine, because I felt like I needed it to just do everyday regular things in life. And so I kept going back to it and kept going back to it and kept going back to it. When I finally got sober in 2015, I think that was probably one of the main drugs, that and Xanax, that I would like kind of have those thoughts like I could just do it one more time and nobody would know. You know, one of the things that helped me to stay away from methamphetamine was to totally get out of that social circle. I don't talk to anybody who uses meth. I don't go around anybody that uses meth. I don't live by people or see people. I don't stay up all night long just for no reason. I don't take any stimulants that would make me like kind of feel like I wanted to do that again. Now, I do have one main trigger that I struggle with, and that's my weight. And I know a lot of you ladies will probably be able to relate to this. That's one thing that I always think in the back of my mind. Well, I could go out and get some dope, some meth, and I would lose all this weight like that. You know, I would be like, bam. And so when those thoughts come into my mind, I play that tape all the way through, and I tell myself, like, come on, Nicole, you have worked so hard to get to where you're at. You know that it's not worth it. You don't want to lose your son. You don't want to lose your husband. You don't want to lose your house. But meth was such a sexual drug for me also, that, you know, me and my husband would use it, and we would, you know, we would have sex all night long. And so when we both got sober, that was another way that we both had to, you know, learn how to have our relationship without that substance stimulating, you know, that area of our relationship, which I know a lot of people know what I'm talking about, because when we're in our addiction, we will use drugs to do those kind of things with each other. And then when you take the drugs away, it's like, do I know you? How do you do this? How do we do this? And so I'm so grateful, though, because me and my husband have been able to know each other without that and start fresh. But it was really difficult at the beginning, and I was afraid. I was really afraid that he wasn't going to love me, and that, you know, we were going to separate because we both got sober. But I'm happy to report that that didn't happen. But meth sucked me in so quickly especially at a really young age, 17, 18, 17 and a half, 18 years old is when I first tried it, like I said. And as a young girl, it was just it was something that just seemed like it was doing so much for me by giving me that energy, by making me not hungry, by keeping me skinny, that I wasn't willing to let go of it until it started hurting me. And now I can tell you guys that it has messed up my teeth. I have teeth back here that I've had to have pulled. I'm very fortunate that I didn't get any of my front ones rotted out. I have sinus cavity problems up here to where this whole part right here collapses in. And see, so it's all jacked up. When I first got sober, I had really bad tics from doing meth for so long, where when I would talk and I would get really excited, my mouth would move this way to the left, like neurological damage from using methamphetamine for so long. You know, I say how amazing it made me feel at the beginning, but then it ended up taking everything that mattered to me in my life, my job, my car, my family, my relationships. I lost everything because of my addiction, you know, and now that I look back on it, I realize how it wasn't worth it at all. And I'm grateful that I was able to get away from that. But the only way that I can tell you that I've been able to stay away from methamphetamine and stay sober is by completely changing my life and completely changing all the people, places, and things that I have in my life. Everything has to change for you to walk away from that and to get sober and stay sober. Because if you're still dabbling in that old life, there's opportunities for you to fall back into that. So yeah, that's what crystal meth was like for me. It was, like I said, a very, very strong drug, a very sexual drug, a very intense, just a drug where I thought it's keeping me skinny, it's giving me energy, until it stopped and it started taking all those things from me. And it started taking my mind from me. And it started taking my family from me. And so if you're struggling and you are, you know, dabbling or abusing or straight up addicted to meth, please reach out to me for help. I'll do anything I can to help you get sober. You can call me at 501-991-5149. And if you guys have any experience with meth, go ahead and leave your comments down below. But I'm going to start like a little series where I talk about just different substances that I've done and how they affected my life and what they were like for me and why I'm not doing them anymore. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you can check out a playlist that I have. It's all about my relapses, and I will link it up here in the card, and I'll also link my Patreon and everything at this end of this video. So check out that playlist. It's called Tales of a Chronic Relapser. That's it. So I got lots of stories in there of me relapsing on meth. So I love you guys. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys tonight at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.